as a diehard fan of Raiders and Crusade, I going into this, I was ready to love this movie. And you know what? The first time I watched this, I thought it was pretty decent. But it may have been because I was so thirsty for a new indie adventure from this franchise. It may have been the same feeling I got after watching Phantom Menace. It's where you walk out, I'm like, that was good, right? Right? You got Star Wars, it was great, right?
That's how
And
you felt walking out of Phantom Menace, huh? Okay.
like we had it's
Okay.
right. Yeah, because I remember a lot of people walked out like then like 72 hours later, it's like, really? No, that wasn't good, was it? But we walked out wanting to love it so much. I got that feeling, and I had that feeling for several years actually, because
Mm.
I was primed to have a good time no matter what. However, until I rewatched this, I think a year ago, because I was prepping for Dial of Destiny. But the thing is, I had absolutely no urge to go back to this movie, and that probably speaks volumes because I rewatched the first three movies many, many times. But I'll start with a couple good things. It's been mentioned before already. I think the opening of this, actually, the first 40 minutes or so of this film are really good, really great. I love everything that's happening in the desert, the New York locations. I think it's really strong stuff. I have no problems with the. I never had a problem with the fridge or any of that. I thought I was having a great time with everything up to that point.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. I don't think this
Well,
is.
Nathan, you're probably not used to the grit of the older movies,
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is a bad film. It's doing so many things that we expect from an Indiana Jones adventure, but it almost feels like, Lucas and Spielberg got together and really tried hard to take the idea of what an Indiana Jones adventure film was and distill it down to its core like iconography. And that's what we got. Crystal Skull lacks we've talked about the tactile feeling of those first three films. Other than the opening scene out in the desert, nearly this entire film in New York scenes, everything feels like was shot on a soundstage. Thus, we don't really feel like we go anywhere, and that's a problem. The
yeah.
characters, and the other thing is the characters in this film, I think, are a combination of both really thinly written, but also making some poor choices. Mutt, the Shia LaBeouf character, he swings in like he's auditioning for Rebel Without a Cause or The Wild
Right.
One,
Right. Yeah.
and but there are so many missed opportunities with fleshing out his backstory.
Mhm.
And we're coming off this wonderful father-son story with Sean Connery and Harrison Ford, and this is doing nothing even close to creating that father-son bonding story, which it could have done if it wanted to, but it has no interest in
It
that.
felt like that was just there to get Marion back.
Yes, and she does nothing in this movie. Ray Winstone, we've already talked about that. Again, a character who could have been a really complex, conflicted character, about where his allegiances are. But this movie, again, has no interest in that and treats him like a buffoon, not just a turncoat, but just a buffoon. And after he backstabs Indy. So, and you remember how in Raiders and in Glass Crusade, the Nazis were terrifying, but also kind of fun villains. And
Yes.
Kate Blanchett's character, I don't know what her motivation is. It's like, well, you're angry all the time and you have a sword. I don't know what else there was to her.
Honestly, that's usually enough for me with Kate, but it's just not working for me in this movie.
And I'll keep this really short because we've gone along with a lot of everybody else here. The worst part is the music. John Williams' score in the original trilogy was so iconic. It's like they forgot to invite him to the party until the closing credits. I don't think I heard the classic Indiana like sweeping score until the
Mm.
credits rolled. I don't remember it at all.
Or are you kidding me? That music during the car sword fight was incredible, and to hum
I
it. Wow. No, it sucked. Yeah.
I'm negative on a lot of things, but I still don't think this is a really terrible film. I don't mind the plot at all, which has been a dumping ground for the last 16 years. By the way, these are not aliens. These are interdimensional beings. Let's get that on the record right now.
Shut.
That's true. And no, because George really wanted Steven to do aliens, and Steven didn't want to do aliens. And George said, well, Steven, what if there were interdimensional beings? And then Steven was like, kind of like aliens. Fine, George.
I want to circle back
fine.
to I want to circle back to the interdimensional beings when you're done, Nathan.
I don't have anything else. It's not great. It's not terrible. But I'm just giving it a 2.5, and I'll get into more later.